What is up, YouTube? How's it going, man? Good to see you. Oh, I'll try that again. All right. We're filming a YouTube tutorial today. We're going to be doing some grass explosions and stuff. If I repeat stuff, then you'll know that I'm just trying to do it for the cut of the tutorial, because why not just use this time to live stream it and make the tutorial, cut it up. We're going to be doing it all today in the live stream. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with the first thing. What up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at... Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. How do I start off? Let's start off a catchphrase with something. I know nothing. Sort of. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a grass explosion like this inside of Houdini and Redshift. And it's way simpler than you think. Shout out to the guys at Man vs. Machine. They came up with this. I don't know what artist did it, but they're the ones that that made this popular and made it look really good. And so now I'm just kind of like making my own layman view of it. And it looks pretty good, I think. So we're going to get started with that. Let's hop into Houdini. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is, how do we make this asset? Let's go back and look, actually, before we go into that. Let's go back and look at this. What do we need first off, what do we need to make this? We need grass, we need an explosion, and then some materials and some lights, and then I'll come in after. But those are the two main things, and that's kind of it. It's very simple once we just break it down into those things. Once we just break it down to those things. So let's hop straight into Houdini and let's get started. Sweet. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the grass. So let's go ahead and hop in and grab a GeoNode. We're going to rename this grass. And we're going to go in and we're going to create a line. Yep, that's it. A great tutorial, guys. Good to see you guys later. No, I'm kidding. So up next... Yeah, see, this is the pause in between to where I'm actually creating the tutorial. So we're going to drop that line in, and then we're going to go in, and we're going to change the length to 0.1. And you're like, why 0.1? I don't know, because I did it earlier, and that's what worked. So I don't know, whatever. We're going to increase the points to 10, and then we're going to drop a transform node underneath it and go inside of it. So nothing you need to do here except for take this first rotation, and we're going 90 degrees with it. And again... we are going to do the things that I've done in the past. You can do this as many ways as you want to. You could have created all of this differently, but this is the way I did it. And again, I know nothing, but we're going to figure it out along the way. We're going to add a bend node to this as well. We're going to put that in, and we're going to change the bend to 120. That did nothing. So we're going to come down here to this capture length, and we're going to decrease the capture length to about, I don't know, 0.2. That way we get some bend in our line. Just making sure everything's recording. Perfect. Okay, so that's what we got. That's our grass, basically. What we're going to do is we're going to take that grass, and we're going to basically, we're going to take that. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take that line and we're going to copy it a bunch of different times. And that's going to be the backbone of our grass. And then we're going to use a simulation and all sorts of stuff afterwards to make it look like grass after the fact. So now we got the grass. Now we need the ball of grass. It's pretty simple. We're just going to go and we're going to make a sphere. We're going to go in, and it's really big, which is fine. We're going to add some columns and some rows to it just to, like, you know, make it nice and smooth. And then we're going to go in and we're going to say VDB from polygons. What we want is we want to create a volume that we can scatter points to. So then we're going to go scatter from, if I could only type, scatter. Nope. It's a points from volume. Got it. There it is. Perfect. So now we've got points to be able to copy our lines to. So we're going to go down to, like, I don't know, whatever, 0.2 0.06. That'll give us enough to where we can figure it out. This is the one thing that you're going to create, that you're going to go back and change once we get all the stuff in place, and then you're just going to like bump this up as much as you want to make it more dense, that kind of thing. So anyway, you can add some jitter scale if you want to kind of like, you know, break it up or whatever. That way we don't have to do a randomized position. But yeah, so there is your points. And now we're going to add all sorts of different attributes to these points. That way we'll have some randomization, we'll have some stuff to work with in our materials, all sorts of things later on. So we're going to add an attribute randomize. Didn't spell it right, but I still got it. And instead of doing the color scale, we're going to go, the color scale, we're going to go with the P scale. So drop it down, and I'm going to say the minimum value is going to be 0.3, and the maximum value is going to be 2. So again, why do I choose these numbers? Why did I choose these numbers? Because I did it and it worked well, but you can do whatever you want to with these numbers. It's up to you. Anyway, we're going to drop down another attribute randomize, and we're going to make this orientation. So it's going to randomize, orient. I am terrible. Okay, so that we're going to come back to that. Put a pin in that because that's not actually working right now. And I thought it would right at first whenever I dropped it in for the first time, and it doesn't, but I'll show you the differences. And it's one simple adjustment that is so ridiculously simple, kind of overthink it. Anyways, so now we're going to add some color to it. Let's go attribute adjust color, if I can spell, which I still can't. I need to go to school for that. We're going to come down to adjustment values, and we're going to say random. So that's going to randomly give our points some color. There it is. I had the points thing selected, so just turn off display points, and you can see the colors. And it goes from red to purple through the whole thing. So what should we do here? Instead of it being all sorts of colors of the rainbow, I'm going to take this. I'm just going to delete these two right here, this yellow and this blue. And I'm going to add some, like, I don't know what I think that some grass would be, right? So like we want some, if we're looking at this asset, right, we want some variation because they're not all the same color. They're a little bit different, and that's kind of what makes it organic feeling. So let's do that. Right into it. We'll just put a pin in that, and we'll come back to it if we need to. But I don't think we need to because it's not going to change much in the later. It's just going to add a little bit of that flavor. So back to Houdini we go. Again, I know nothing of what I'm doing, but it's going to be fun. Okay, what next? What do we do? So now we've got all these points. Now we've got to copy this to this. So what do? We go copy to, oh my gosh. The microphone's in the way, so I blame that. We're going to copy to points, and we're going to drag these points into the target points to copy to, and then we're going to add this geometry to copy to, and then go inside, and now we should have all sorts of copies of our lines, of what our grass is. But you're like, well, that doesn't look good, and I know it doesn't look good, but just calm down, okay? Stop yelling at me. We're going to go back into our randomize attribute in the orientation name or whatever, the orientation one, and we're going to increase the dimensions to 4. It just works. Don't ask me questions. I think it's because it's like wanting to see it as a vector or like it's some kind of something. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just moving sliders around and it ends up working. So I don't know. Sue me. Anyways, don't sue me. I don't have a lot of money. So we've got all our copies, and now what we need to do is we need to make them look like grass. How are we going to do that? We're going to add a sweep node to it to the end. And that's going to do nothing. What's wrong? No cross-section geometry provided. Well, that's good, because all we have to go is to the surface shape, go down to ribbon, and boom. Perfect grass. No, we need to decrease this width by a lot. We're going to go, I don't know, maybe down to 0.3, 0.2. I'm not really sure. We're going to have to probably play with this a couple different times, but that's not going to do it either. How do we make this to where it looks like some blades of grass? Well, we're going to go down to scale and we're going to click apply scale along curves. Now what we can do is we can drop a node and drop a little point in the middle, grab these points on the end, bring them down. And now we've got some different kinds of, I mean, you know, it looks a little bit like grass, like not a ton. They just kind of look perfect. And that's, I don't know, that's something. It's how we're going to get there. Anyway, so now we've got them going with some width, and we're going to add some depth to it because they're not just like, even though they're very thin, they're not like a sheet of paper thin, like one atom thin, which is what they are calculating as in the program. So let's add some body to it. We're going to drop an extrude node down. I think it's called poly extrude. Yeah. And then we're going to grab that in. We're going to grab that in, and we're going to go into it. And I don't know what's happening here. Nothing's going on because I think we have to add some distance. So let's add some distance to this. Oh my gosh. That's not what we want. That's way too much. We just want it to be a little bit. Basically, I just went in and I said 0.002. So that gave me like a little bit of this. That's honestly too much still. 0.0005. Yeah. Right? I mean, like that's about right. We also want to click output back so that we get two sides and it has some thickness. So now we've got our ball of grass. Now we've got our grass copied into our ball of grass, and we need to make them move. So we're going to go back before this sweep and poly extrude. We're going to click on this copy to points, and we're going to pipe this in to a vellum solver. So first of all, I'm going to drop down a vellum solver. Bink. Right. Hello. There it is. We're going to drop down a vellum solver, and what that's doing is that's giving it cloth-like values, and we also have to give it some constraints, which if you're coming from the Cinema 4D world, basically it's like all the stuff that's just in your like Control D or whatever that is, like the project settings. But this is like you can control it individually. So it gives you more flexibility, but it's a little confusing coming from there because it's not an overall setting. It's a specific setting here. So we have to drop it down, and we're going to say, instead of like a struts thing or like anything, we're going in with some configure hair, because hair kind of acts like, I don't know, bent grass, maybe. I don't know. It looked good. Again, like it worked well. So we're just going to keep doing it. Anyways, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to change some settings here. Again, this was all based on what I figured out. The stretch was fine. The bend, however, was either too stiff, which if you gave it, you know, if you press pause or press play right now, it would be too stiff. The best way to just go ahead and preview it, I found, is to just go ahead and put some pop wind in here, pipe it into some force, turn up the amplitude, go back to your vellum solver, go to forces, undo the gravity, that way it doesn't fall down. And then we go in and we just watch this. That's not doing anything. Oh, because I didn't check the vellum solver. Perfect, yep. So also pipe your constraints in. And so I'm gonna press play and it should, yep, there you go. Got some turbulence. But what you're seeing is that it's not moving at all. And so we need it to move a little bit, have some undulation, if you will. So we're going to turn down our bend stiffness to 0.000 space. I don't know what space is for. 0.1. Maybe it's just easier to see it that way. And then we're also going to bring it down to 0.5. So remember what this looks like. We're going to go back and watch the same turbulence and then watch how all of these guys kind of turn around. The reason that we don't go all the way down is because if we did that, it won't look like grass, because if you've picked up a blade of grass before, you can bend it, but it kind of like has some stiffness on the bend, and if you like flatten it all the way, it cracks, and we don't want that. It's got some stiffness to it. Let's just show you what it looks like when it has literally no bend constraints and scranks. I don't know what it looks like noodles. Like, that's not what we want. We don't want any of that. So we're going back up to this. This is what I found is necessary. And this is also based on scale as well. So if you choose to go with a different size line, a different size ball, you need to check your scale, because you might have to do less bending stiffness or more bending stiffness. I don't know. You do you. So right now we've got our grass moving really well. But what we saw in this asset thing, it starts off as a ball, or if you look at right there, it's like kind of ball-ish and then explodes from there. So how do we make that go in? How do we make that? How do we make it go into a ball? Well, I could do, you know, some like crazy vex coding or something like that, to where I can say, like, you know, only be on the very outside and the inside, and like keep the bent. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to do it very, very fast and very simple. I'm going to go grab this sphere. Let's take all of this and push this over. I'm going to grab this sphere, and I'm going to drop a transform node down and pipe it into the vellum collision geometry. Now, let's go back to 1, and let's just look at this guy. It's the same size as this. So like, you know, these are popping out a little bit. What we want to do is let's just set a keyframe. What we want to do is we want to set a keyframe at 24 frames right here, where the uniform scale is 0. So you can do that by doing Control or Option and then clicking the thing. I don't know. I'm using a Mac keyboard on a PC, and it's kind of confusing. So whatever the thing is for you, you do that. So we're making a keyframe there at 1. We're going back to the first frame, and we're going to increase the scale to like 2, and then put another keyframe. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a sphere that presses all of the stuff into basically the sphere that we had. Super simple fix, right? I mean, like, you know, we're already making it move, so like just make them move a little bit better. Okay, so let's turn off our pop wind for now, and let's just watch and see what happens here. Nothing. What happened? Why is it not moving? It's not moving. Oh, because the collision geometry isn't connected here. Well, there you go. So connect your collision geometry always, and then it'll work. So let's go and boop. Now they're inside of a sphere. And if we take off display, you know, if we go back out and we see this, it looks like it's a sphere. And if you add more copies up here in your points from volume, then you can have more copies and it looks more spherical, like you see here. That's just how it goes. Anyways, so now we've got a sphere. We've got our grass. We've got our grass. We've got our ball of grass. Now we've got like a sphere of grass that actually moves and undulates the way that we want it to. Now what do? We have to make the explosion of what we're seeing here, which is just outwards, and it kind of like goes fast and then dissipates slower. So kind of goes fast and dissipates slow. No. So it kind of goes fast and like, yeah, I'm repeating myself. Here we go. Kind of goes fast and then like explodes out and then slows down a little bit. And that's what we're going to make next. And it's pretty simple. We're going to uncheck that grass eyeball, and we're going to go up to our, where is it? Pyro Effects toolbar, and we're going to click the sparse billowy smoke. Now I don't know what happened to my, oh, there it is. Okay. We're going to click the sparse billowy smoke. We're going to Actually, you know what? I think you can just do it. If you press that and then press enter, it just makes it at 0, 0, 0. Maybe not, whatever. So now we've created this sparse billowy smoke. The first thing that I like to do whenever I do that, I always just zero out these translates. That way it's right in the center. Oh, you haven't seen anything that I'm doing. Dang it. All right, let's go back. We have to go back. I'm going to delete this. And this will all be edited out with movie magic. All right, cool. All right, cool. So the next thing we have to do, we've got our blade of grass, we've got our ball of grass, we've got our grass moving and undulating. Now we need to make the explosion for the grass to move away from. So what we're going to do is we're going to uncheck this grass and we're going to add a sparse, billowy smoke to our scene. Boom, there it is. And that's not what we want, but it's getting us there. Let's just clean this up a little bit. What? I don't want that. Whatever that was. We're going to go into our billowy smoke, and then we're going to delete this torus. We don't want that. We want to just create a sphere and put it right down and put it right there. It is perfect. So now we have a sphere and we have some smoke. How fun. But that's nothing of what we want it to look like. So we're going to have to change some stuff. And again, it's like I went in and I made a bunch of different tweaks and changes over a few hours to figure out how to do all of this. Stay with me. We're going to go in to our Pyro source, and the particle separation is at 0.05. Okay, I thought that was going to be, well, okay. We don't have to change anything there. Moving on. We're going to go into our velocity, and we're going to take this preprocess, and we're going to go initial vector 0. We're going to go down to the, what is it? Adjust with, and we're going to say random. And now, instead of it being, instead of the velocity coming from the sphere at a random or at a like a noisy, like with a noise field, we're going to do it randomly. And that's just how I did it. There's probably other ways, probably a million other ways to do it. Again, I know nothing about what I'm doing. I'm just clicking boxes. Here we go. So I don't want it to go up, and that's in smoke terms, buoyancy. So we got to figure out where that is. Let's go back up one level and then over into our smoke simulation. Let's go to our Pyro Solver, and under simulation, where is it? Gravity. No. Buoyancy scale. There it is. And we're going to turn that to 0. Perfect. That should do the trick, right? Well, something's still happening. Why did it go that way? Well, I know why. That's because in our shape, we've got some wind. What we're going to do is basically, I'm going to turn all of this off. All I want is some dissipation, and I'm actually going to set that dissipation to, well, it's in my notes somewhere. What did I do? Oh, 0.02. That's what it is. So now that should get rid of that wind, and we should just have it like, there it is, undulating outward. I mean, looks similar, right? Like, I don't know. Looks close. Let's go ahead and add some more, let's add some more voxels in there just to get like a little bit more resolution. So I'm going to go down in voxel size to 0.05 maybe. I think that's what I did. And let's check out what we did here. Okay. It's something. I think that's right. 0.02. Yeah, so let's just do 0.02 because that's the slowest we can get. No, you know what? I don't like that. We're going to keep it at 0.05. So we're going to set it to 0.05. And we're going to see what that does. That moves well. Perfect. Now, if I do this and I just use the smoke simulation as is, what's going to end up happening with our grass? I'll show you. We're going to look at it in this view. I'm going to turn off. Let's go back up to our object and let's turn off our billowy smoke and turn on our grass. And I'm going to watch this. Right. So, what we forgot to do. Number one thing. It's not moving because we're not using the smoke to advect any of the points that are there. So we're going to go back into our vellum solver, and we're going to delete our pop wind, and we're going to add an advect from volumes node. into our forces. So now we should, when we drop our SOP level, if you go up, and you can go all the way up to billowy smoke and then render billowy smoke, now we should be advecting the points via that smoke that we just created. So let's go back up and look at this and watch what happens. And right. So our collision geometry brings it down into a ball, but it does it too early, or too late. And then it can't go anywhere, which, you know, if this is what you want, cool. That's got like an interesting texture to it. But that's not what we want. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to add another keyframe at like 30 something seconds. That's 4 on our transform node of our sphere that's going into our collider object. That way it comes down, it squishes it all together and goes back out. That way it's not bothered by anything else. So actually, you know what? Let's just increase that to 6 because I don't want to have to deal with any stray things happening, any stray collisions happening. So let's see what happens now. So the turbulence is happening, and it's pushing it away, and see, it's just dissipating and keeps dissipating and keeps dissipating. That's not what we want. We want it to keep together. And you're like, oh, well, maybe we could just add some more, some more points in here to make some more blades of grass. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I tried that. It didn't work. Basically, what I found out was it's still emitting smoke from this. So it's still going to just like push it out the whole way. And obviously we don't want that. We just want it to like explode and then kind of undulate a little bit, but it's not like pushing everything outward like the whole time. So let's go back into our smoke sim. And the way that we fix it is we go into our volume sources and we tell the activation to only activate when the, I'm going to go $. That's for the fucking $. Where is it? 4. It's on the 4. I go $FF, which is saying at frame, that's the shortcode for frame. If the frame is greater than 2, then you activate your smoke. And I think that that's wrong. I think that's backwards. Yep, it's backwards. I want it to be less than. So I only want it to go for frame 1. And then when it goes to frame 2, it stops giving a source. So then it stops giving smoke, right? So that immediately decreases our billowing, if you will. So we got to go back over. We got to add some more velocity to it. So I'm going to just throw up the amplitude to like, I don't know, 24. And we're going to see what happens. Boom. So now we're seeing, well, without our grass, now we're seeing our smoke in that same kind of undulation area thing. If we added some more voxel sizes to this, I'm sure we can see a lot better kind of how it undulates well. So we can do that. That'll give us some more detail in the curling for our noise. So let's go with that number. And in the grass setting, we still haven't figured out what to do when we break the ball, or when we put the ball and we still haven't figured out what to do when we take the ball and we squish it down to get our grass into a ball and then take it out, because that's when we want the smoke to happen. So like, what do I do for that? Well, it's super simple. You go to your billowy smoke thing and you go down, and underneath your pyro look, we're going to add a time shift node to this, and we're going to go in, we're going to delete this channel, and we're going to say frame -24. So basically that's going to say, I don't want you to start rendering until frame 24. It moves the whole thing back 24 frames. Super simple. So now what we can do with our grass is we have 2 stages. The collision geometry comes down, makes that ball, and then it releases and the smoke happens at the same time. So we should get exactly what we want in this pass. Goes down, and then it blows up. Looks good to me. I'm gonna turn the smoke off so we can see what's going on with the grass. We got to turn on. Make sure you're checking the real-time toggle down here. That way it doesn't, get ridiculous. So we're only going to render out, like we saw here, we're only going to render out when it explodes. So no need to, do anything with the first bit where it looks weird when it's just going down. It's going to explode out anyways, so the motion's going to be that way, and we don't have to worry about those first 24 frames. All good. Let's go into our points from volume, and I actually put this down to, 0.3. Let's double it up. Really get after it. That gives us a lot of hair nodes, not nodes, but a lot of hair points to copy to. Squish them down into this ball, and then they explode out. Yep. Kind of giving us some of that undulation. And I think that's looking okay. That may be a little too much. I want to be able to put this together so we can preview our material well, and we have enough to look at. Our amplitude might be a little much. Let's go back into our billowy smoke sim. Oh, nope. Let's go back into our... No, come back. Back into our billowy smoke, and we're going to say the velocity just comes down just a titch. We're going to go down to 18 and see if that works out a little bit better for our spheres. Spheres. What am I saying? For our grass. Maybe I need to, because I'm getting some strays over here. Maybe I need to turn this, maybe I need to turn this voxel size back up to 0.05. And then we'll see what happens there. Going back into our grass, and let's watch this simulate. Okay, so, based on whatever random seed you want or whatever, we've created this undulating explosion of points, of blades of grass, of lines, really, at this point, that we can then sweep. And so when I go to that sweep node, see, and this is why I knew we were going to come back to this, because for whatever reason, whenever you do this vellum hair, this vellum solver, again, I know nothing. You have to go back in your sweep node and you have to change the width up to like 12 or something like that. It's ridiculous. I don't even know why, but that's what happens. All right, so we're looking a little thick. These guys are looking a little brawny. Let's go 9. Brawny. That's got to be a paper towel thing, right? I don't know. Could be. Okay, so we've got some variations of 2. I'm gonna go to max stretch is like 12. And then I'm going to bring the width back down to, I don't know, what did I have earlier? What's in my notes? I can't see. I can't see where it is. Width to 5. All right, cool. The width all the way down to 5. Yeah, so now we're getting a lot of blades of grass. That's kind of cool, right? Oh, crap. I didn't change back to Houdini. I don't even know when I left off. All right, we're going all the way back then. All the way back. Into our billowy smoke, all sorts of stuff, going back to this. All right, so we've gotten we've kind of dialed in a little bit more of our billowy smoke simulation. I've added some more points to this grass node in the points from volume up here, point separation. And so now we're going to check out what we've got so far. We've got some good explosions, that kind of thing. It looks pretty good. We might want to turn the time scale down, but for now, we're just going to move on. You get the picture. You can do all sorts of different kind of thing. Excuse me, got a burp. Ugh. Anyways, oh, nobody's gonna watch this. So now that we've got all of our balls of grass, all of our grass balls, whatever, man, grassy balls. I don't think that I can say that on here. Well, one video in and I'm already canceled. Okay, so now we've got all of our grass, and we've dialed in all of the smoke stuff and all of this, whatever bendy areas, and we've got hair. So we're going to sweep it and we're going to give it some extrusion and we're going to see what that looks like. Now, normally, and I've already changed this, but normally on our max stretch, the way that you had it earlier, it was like at like 0.002. Oh, I'm sorry, not our max stretch. Let's go back. So normally here, we would have had like 0.004, whatever I had earlier on that copy to points back here. When I completely went away from the vellum here, I had the sweep, and this looked pretty okay. Well, what was it? I can't even remember now. We were at 0.04 maybe, just to give it no, it's not that. It was 0.08 or 7 or something. Yeah. So like given some leaf kind of characteristics. But as soon as you drop this vellum solver into it, for whatever reason, I have no clue, it absolutely disintegrates whatever scaling you had there. And I have no clue. Again, I have no clue what I'm doing. So we're going to simulate this again, and we're going to drop back. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So get some frames in there, and we're going to sweep it, and I'll show you it's gone. It's there, but it's gone. I don't know if you can see. The width is so small, it's not calculating. So we're going to just drive this puppy up to like, I don't know, 8. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 5. 56. Perfect. Now I'm just going to, nope, we're going down to 5. There. Now we've corrected that, and we get some like pretty okay looking wavy and undulating bendy blades of grass, which I'm pretty stoked about, honestly. So then we're going to drop that poly extrude in to give it a little bit of thickness and have it double-sided. And that's looking pretty okay. So the next thing, if we're looking at this, the next thing we got to do is we got to put one light in here. We got to put a dome light to get rid of all the ambient light, and we've got to put some material. So let's start with putting a light in, and I'm going to swap back to Houdini this time because I keep forgetting to do that. Back to Houdini. Bang! Look at that. It's like magic. All right, so let's add a light. Of course it crashes. That's amazing. All right, cool. We're going to just build this whole thing back again. This is why you save. This is why you save your stuff. So disappointed in myself. Gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. All right. Let's start from the top. GeoNode. Line. What did I do? Oh, I called it line, but I need to call it grass. Yep, that's what it is. Going back to this line, we're going to the length of, what did I do in my notes? 0.1. Again, no idea why I did that the first time. 10. Gonna put a transform node down, rotating at 90. And then I'm gonna put a bend node down. I can't talk anymore. I'm literally go to 120. We're gonna decrease the capture length to where it actually bends up. Then we're going to add a sphere for our copy to points. We're going to BDB from polygons. There you go. And then we're gonna do points from volume. From volume down. We're going to increase this, or sorry, decrease the separation to 0.05 just for now. And then we're going to give some attribute randomize. Randomize. We're actually going to do that twice. One is for scale, and we're going to do 0.322, and then one is for orientation. Oh gosh, orientation. There it is. And so I'm going to again add that to the fourth. We're going to go down. We're going to add a attribute. What is it? Mapping, remap, adjust color is what I'm supposed to do. Nope. Attribute adjust color. Perfect. Grab that. And we're going to go, instead of constant, we're going to go with a random, and then we're going to remap these guys to where there's some variation. So we're going to do a yellow over here. Let's do like a desaturated and like muddy that, whatever that is. And we're going to, that yellow's fine there. And then we're going to do this dark green here. And I'm going to move this around. Okay, so if we uncheck our display points, we can see that our points have been given a random value between this gray and yellows and the greens and stuff. Cool. So now, what else do I need to do? I did the P scale. Now I think we just copy the points. So, perfect. Take this bin, copy the points right in here. We get some attribute randomize. We're going to go with a vellum solver right here. I'm going to go hair constraints, vellum hair, configure hair. We're going to drop both of those guys in. I'm going to do the transform node over here. You know, this is always good to just like practice twice, right? I'm going to go to 24, and I'm going to say that's the scale that I want it to be. Go back up. I'm going to 3 or 4, place another keyframe, and then go to like 36 and place a keyframe at 6. So that way it big, small, big. Perfect. So what next? Oh, we got to go into our hair. We got to go down to our stiffness of our bend, and we're going to increase that and increase this. Well, I guess decreasing both of them, so it gives a little bit less stiffness. I guess. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Sorry. I don't know if you can see this. My dog back there. Anyways, okay, what else? Vellum solver. Oh, I've got to go into the vellum solver, into the forces tab, and I'm going to say no gravity because it shouldn't go anywhere. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to create a billowy, sparse billowy smoke thing. Yep, right there. We're going to go back out, and we're going to recenter this to 0, 0. Perfect. Let's go into the billowy smoke. We're going to delete this torus. We're going to put a sphere down. We're going to keep all that setting correct. We're going to uncheck that, go to 0. We're going down to the adjustment value. We're going to randomize. We're going to add the amplitude up to like, well, let's take it down to like 18 or something like that. So that's all fine. We'll change the seed number just because I feel good about it. And that's good for now. Let's go into the billowy smoke, and we're going to go into the Pyro Solver, into our buoyancy setting, and taking that down to 0. We're going to go into shape, uncheck wind, turbulence, disturbance, take down the dissipation to 2. We're going to go into our Pyro options. We're going to do the voxel size down to 0.05. We're going to go over to our source volumes. We're going to activate this at frame, which is less than 2, which is obviously only 1 frame. So now we should just see, boom, and then it dissipates. I think we've gotten there in a record time. What do you think? Go back into our grass, and oh, it's wanting to see all this. Let's save this. How about that? Let's go in and let's just save as grass explosion. I'm sure that's not how you spell that. I'm sure I missed the P in there somewhere, but whatever. We're going to go into our vellum solver, and we're going to go to add vect from volume, by volumes, whatever it is, from by. And we're going to add our SOP into our billowy smoke, render billowy smoke. We got to go back to our object, and into our billowy smoke, we got to go a time shift node. We're going to add it after the pyro look, and we're going just add it to that. Come on. There. Boop. Perfect. Then we're going to add this piece of code, delete the channel. We're going to go at frame minus 24. So we're going to go all the way back, go out of this and into our grass setting. So then we should see everything working correctly. Yeah, looking good to me. Okay, let's add some more. Yeah, let's see what happens. That's a lot more. We don't want a lot more. We just want a little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, we didn't add some jitters in our points volume. Let's add some jitters in there. There it is. Cool. And so now that we've got all this back, okay, we can resume from where we were. Perfect. Now let's add a light to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up and we're going to save and go into, I'm using Redshift. You can use whatever you want. You can use Mantra. You can use, I don't know, what are the other ones? I mean, if you're using Octane in here, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I tried to do it for months and it just works way better with Redshift. Just learn Redshift. It's like a no-brainer in Houdini, and it's infuriating in Cinema 4D. I don't understand why they made the switch, but whatever. So we're going to go with one light dome, and we're going to go into the light dome and add a black to the color because we don't want to shine any ambient light anywhere. And we want to add a singular light, and we'll just put it off to the side over here. So I'm going to scoot this back, and I'm going to go into the light settings, and I'm going to increase the shape size by like, I don't know, 4. We just want it to be over there and shining halfway through. Save it. Now that we've got those, we've got our grass, we've got our lights, we've got our smoke sim and everything working. Now we need a material. I burped again. Why am I burping so much? Whatever. So now we need a material. So let's go into our materials and let's just add a Redshift material builder into our material node. We'll call this Gres, and we will put it down. And I don't know why, but Redshift just automatically puts down a standard material. I don't like it. I like the regular material. So that's what I'm gonna do. RS material, and it is different. You're like, wait, isn't it the same? No, it's different, man. I don't know what to tell you. Again, I know nothing. I just move buttons around. But it's fun. I like doing what I do, okay? So a couple of things were why I used hair, and it just kind of was a happy accident at the end. If you look at this asset, you can see that there's variation in the blades of grass, but there's also variation on the singular blades of grass. And what I'm doing is I'm using the hair mapping to drive all of that. So we're going to go in and we're going to manipulate the hair, which then will inform the UV map of said extrusion and the ribbon and sweeping stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. It's not going to be like photorealistic up close and personal, but at this scale, it works really well. Like for what it is, it's nice and MoGraphy, nice and undulating. So we're going to go back into that and we're going to add a material. We're going to go back and we're going to add some hair stuff. So let's put down a hair position and let's put down a hair random color. No, I'm not going to do that because I tried to do that once and it didn't work. We're going to go vertex attribute. And what that's going to do is that's going to take what we're seeing here and it's going to pipe it in to our diffuse color. See, it takes this attribute CD and throws it in. So let's go ahead, let's save and let's fire up our render view. And it takes a while. Apparently, oh, we don't have a camera. We don't have a camera. We got to go back up. Let's go back up to the object, and we're going to add... Oh, there is a camera. What? I did add a camera. Is it just not looking at the... Oh, it is. Let's lock that down. So now it should be seeing what I'm seeing, and it's not, for whatever reason. I don't know. Oh, you know why? It's because we're not actually doing anything in terms of like the vellum solver or whatnot. So let's just go back. Now I have to cut here because frickin' I didn't say the first time. Okay, I'm just gonna do this really quickly. I'm gonna take this ramp down all the way to almost done. Then I'm gonna take this as if like this is the front end. I'm gonna take it down, and then we're gonna see that it scales it based on that a long curve. And now I want to do a poly extrude, and my girlfriend's calling me. I won't answer you, even though I should. Poly extrude, perfect. I'm going to output the back, and I'm going to give it a distance of 0.0005. So just add a little thickness, and that should give us some back to it as well. Awesome. Perfect. So let's see here. Let's go back, and let's act like I just did that. So, all right, we got a camera. What I'm going to need to do is let's just go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and fire up the render view. Let's see what we're working with so far. White. Perfect. That's because we need to go into our grass geo node under render tab, and we need to assign the material to it. Grass. Accept. And it should change, and it doesn't. Let's see what happens if I restart the render view. Nothing. Dope. Let's go back to materials, and underneath our grass, let's put in our color into our diffuse. And this is the most confusing thing of all time. I have no idea why it does this, but whenever you do a vertex attribute lookup and you plug it in, it just gives you this default color. And then if you restart your render, it gives it to you the way that you want it to. And I have no idea why, but there it is. So whatever. Okay, so we're getting there, right? Like we're looking at that, and we're looking at like this. It's looking, I don't know, sort of close, right? We obviously need to add some more hair and stuff for it, but we're gonna just pay attention to the material at this point. So I'm gonna do a couple things. We've got this attribute. See, look at that vertex attribute lookup, and now I want to go into this hair position kind of thing. This will add some more detail to it, and it'll do it procedurally too, which is really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a ramp node to this, and I think if we do this, it's going to turn it completely black. That's right. So a couple things need to happen here. We need to take the mapping and we need to make it vertical. That's fine. We need to go into UV mapping, and then I think what I have to do is I have to squeeze this really far down because of the scaling. Let's restart our render view. It's not. You know what I did? Okay, okay, so in order for this to work, we've got to go back up, and we've got to go to the grass geo node, and we've got to go into sweep, and under sweep we got to go UVs and attributes and say compute UVs, and that way we'll be able to see what's going on in our render view throughout the whole process. So there you go. You see it's kind of like getting in there a little bit. Let's go back to our materials, and let's go into our grass, and let's go into our ramping hair position, and we can just take this all the way down to where we see a little bit of that green coming in, and then we want to give the body of our grass a more I don't know, kind of desaturated texture and flavor. We'll put it over to the, like this side a little bit to give it some stuff. Okay, so that's giving a little bit of more what we want, right? We want to have some differences in basically, I'm sorry, I didn't even explain. Okay, so basically what this does is this hair position node is saying, I want you to output this to the V. It's following the spline that exists on the hair. And so then you can take this ramp and remap it to be like, this is the tip and this is the base. Based on the scale, and again, I know nothing, but based on the scale, you have to clamp it down like this. I don't know. Maybe there's a way that you can just scale the UVs up really like a lot, and then it makes more sense. But I have not been able to get it to work correctly like that. So if anybody's got any kind of solution for it, drop a comment and tell me that I'm an idiot and tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Back to this. So what we also want to do is, if you look at any kind of grass, there's like a little bit of noise. So we'll just add a little noise to it. We can up the frequency. That'll just like kind of break this up, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy both of these points over, and I'm going to go into this hair position. I'm going to say, into this ramp. Instead of mapping it vertically, we want to map it horizontally. So this is going to change it to where it's mapping it from side to side. Let me show you. So if we dip all the way in here and we're looking at these guys, let's look at this one right here, right there. See that guy? Cool. So I'm going to stretch this out on this ramp, and we're going to see that it maps it from one side to the other. And that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. Like, you can just do that procedurally. It does it for all of them. You can see it right there and there and there and there, and that's all cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little tiny line in the middle. That way we won't have to like UV map it or whatever. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to create this like darker kind of greenish thing. It's right here, which was almost the same thing here. But then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add another one there and flip it to the other side. And then we've got this like, you know, middle bit here that's like kind of black, and it adds some more flavor to it, and it's kind of fun, right? So we can pull this in and we can make this a little bit more defined. You know, we can pull it all the way in and make it like super defined and crisp, and maybe it like adds a line to it, but we don't really want to do that. We want to spread it out a little bit. And let's give it a brown texture. And it's not going to add much. I'm not telling you it's going to add a lot, but it's going to add something to your render, especially when we go back out and we're looking at it from afar. It just gives it that little bitch. And I'm canceled. It gives it that little much more in your render view. So now we're going to take all three of those things. We're going to add our ramp here, our ramp. We're going to add our ramp here, our ramp here, and our ramp here. Which again, it's like you got to restart your thing. And we're going to take all of that and we're going to mix it together to where we get this variation. And I left this on yellow and greens and browns because it's going to be mixed in. So we want to have like a lot more variation and more contrast in those. Let's go ahead and throw a mix, Redshift color mix in here. We're going to put that into input 1 and put this ramp into input. Actually, let's trade those up because it looks a whole lot cleaner. We're going to go somewhere in the middle. Wait, what's this? Do I have to restart my... Okay, whatever. You have to restart your IPR every single time you want to use this technique. So I'm going to turn up the mix amount to where it looks pretty okay. Like I'm not seeing a ton of this. I'm seeing a little bit of variation, but not a ton. I think it's looking okay. Let's do that. And then I'm going to also put another one over here. Yep, there it is. And I'm going to mix these two together and then pipe that into the one. So we can see do a little solo node here. You can see what's going on. These guys, I think, you know, we're just mixing those two together. And there you have it. I mean, you add some more. Okay, I guess we can end this better. And there you have it. The way to make grass explosions. All you need to do at this point is just go back in and increase this points from volume to where it has more, and then you get a little a little something like this. And that's pretty much it. That's all we got. I think that was it. I think that's all of it. Trying to figure out if I need to do anything else for YouTube or not. I I don't think that's it. I think I'm just going to sign it off now. For the YouTubers that are watching, thank you so much for hanging out and for watching me basically create a tutorial on the fly. Obviously, you know, crashes happen and other things go awry, but I think we did pretty okay for our first one. I'm gonna keep doing this to where, you know, if I'm working on something and I find a new technique that I find very simple and easy to just put out, I'm gonna put it out. So you do you, and if you want to like and subscribe, that's awesome. If you want to share it, that'd be dope. I'm just here to like learn some easy stuff, put it out for you guys, and to get better. So for the YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna sign off with my, you know, whatever I'm gonna say at this point. I don't even know, this is my first one I'm doing for Houdini, and my first one that I've done in 2 years. So we'll see how this goes. I'm just gonna do it on the fly. All right, thank you so much for watching. That gives us the end. No, see, I didn't do it right. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I don't know why I'm pointing at the camera like that. It's so weird. Hey, thank you all so much for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out, and hey, thank you all so much for sticking around and hanging out with me and learning some awesome stuff in Houdini. It's super simple, really cool techniques. This is not good either. How do I do this? Hey y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. I don't know why I keep saying that. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. I said it again. Why did I just told me whatever. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. What am I going to say? Hold on. Let me just think about it for a second. How do I end these things? Now, YouTube, thank you so much for being here. That concludes the rest of our grass explosion. If you like this video, go check out some other ones that I have. There's some other live streams and stuff. And if you want to, check out these 2 videos right here. This one's a Cinema 4D tutorial that I did way back in the day with Octane, and this one is a live stream that I did a couple months ago. And like and subscribe if you like the thing. If you don't, you can dislike it all you want. I probably don't care. That's not true. I'll go cry. My room alone. All right. I don't know. Is that how I end my videos? I have no idea. But this has been a ton of fun. I'll just figure it out later. Maybe I'll just like put something else on. But it was really good to hang out with you guys and to create this thing. It was a lot of fun to create the first time, and then, you know, creating it, I guess, 3 or 4 more times for this was a lot of fun. So check out my stuff, iamsutherland.com. You can go to my YouTube channel and check out my other videos. If you like this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe bell, all sorts of stuff, and check out these other 2 videos as well. I will see you next time on the next video, if I put one out, which I might not, if I'm being honest. This might be the last one. Who knows? All right, peace.